guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing a book review on Divergent by Veronica Roth. And like I said before, I am a little late on jumping on the bandwagon with some of these series. This is one of them, and there are a few others. But if you guys are interested in hearing my thoughts on this book, just go ahead and keep on watching. So this book is set in a futuristic Chicago. It is a dystopian book, so that means that the government is corrupt or there is something different about the government, but it is just fake, crazy, chaos, government controlling kind of thing going on. There are 5 factions, and let me see if I can even remember these 5 factions. I had a hard time remembering the difference between Candor and Amity, I think it was, or Dauntless. Candor and Dauntless. I always got them confused, but it's Amity the Peaceful, Dauntless the Brave, Abnegation the Selfless, Erudite the Intelligent, and what was the other one? Candor the Honest. Sorry, had a moment. But there's 5 factions, and each faction represents a certain characteristic or aspect that they believe in, I guess you could say. It's just a characteristic that they live by, and you know how they operate and stuff. So each faction has their own trait that they follow and that they act by and things like that. So everyone in this society belongs to one faction, and when they turn 16 they go through a simulation, a test, and based on their decisions in that simulation they get options for what faction best suits their decisions. And typically most of these kids end up getting one choice that they can pick from, or maybe 2, but in some cases they'll get more than 2 or 3. Very rarely will they get 3 choices to choose from. And our main character, Beatrice Pryor, who then changes her name to Tris, she goes through this simulation and she gets 3 choices. She gets the Erudite, she gets Dauntless, and of course she gets Abnegation, which is the faction that she was born into. And you can either choose to stay in your faction with your family, or you can choose to leave your faction and join another one. And usually when people switch factions, it's frowned upon, and it doesn't look good for some reason with the people in your old faction. But there are cases where some people do that anyway. And one line that I don't know who came up with this, but it must be in like one of their, not textbooks, but in one of their books of rules and regulations or something. But one model that they all live by is faction before blood, which is ironic because you would think it would be the other way around. But anyway, Beatrice goes through her simulation and she gets 3 options, and lo and behold, she decides that she wants to transfer the faction that she is in. She wants to leave it and go to another one. And a lot of people, they look down on her, they're outraged because, you know, that's not something that you should do, but people do it anyway. And so she decides to transfer, and I'm not going to tell you what faction she transfers to. I'm going to leave that so that you guys can go ahead and read this book. It is a very good book. I don't think you guys will be disappointed. It has action. It has romance, like every book does in YA nowadays, but it's not too cheesy and it's not too mushy. And I would let you know if it was cheesy or mushy, because those are one of the things that I really don't like in books. I don't like the cheesiness or the mushiness, but it had a pretty good balance as far as that aspect of the romance in the book. It was a really good book. It had very interesting characters. It had amazing world building. It didn't have as much information on the factions as I would have liked. Like, I kind of wanted to know some background information on some of the factions, like where they came from, how they started, what kind of things they believe in, and that sort of thing. So I kind of wish there was more information on the factions themselves. But overall, it was a pretty good book. I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars. I just thought it was amazing. There was never a dull moment in this book. There was always something going on. Always some action, always somebody getting killed or someone getting beat up, and it was a really, really good book. The majority of the book centers around Tris's transfer into her new faction, and I kind of don't want to tell you what what faction she went into because I want to leave it as a surprise, but a big chunk of the book centers around her preparing for initiation and her getting training for the initiation process of this faction, and just learning what it's like to be a part of this faction, and learning how to do things that these faction members do, and just living this different life. In her previous faction, there was a lot of things that were unacceptable that they just didn't do, and transferring into this new faction, all of those old habits and things that she lived by basically get thrown out the window, because this new faction is just, they have just so much freedom that it's something that's so new to her, but she embraces very quickly, because that just kind of was something that she did. It was something that she knew how to do naturally, and that was one of the reasons why she transferred her faction, is because she felt like she was too selfish. And the main thing about the abnegation faction is that they're selfless people, and they like helping other people, and they think about other people before they think about themselves. And that was something that she just couldn't get used to. It wasn't something that she did naturally. She always felt like she had to force herself to act like a selfless person, because it didn't come that way naturally to her. And so it just talks about her life in this new faction, and her friends that she meets, and all of the crazy things that happen while she's preparing for initiation. And then of course, you know, she meets this boy, and it talks about her love interest and how her relationship starts to develop with this guy, and she learns things about this guy that she doesn't really tell other people, that other people don't know about. And it's a really good book. I honestly didn't think that I would like this book as much as I did. I was holding off on buying this book because I thought it was going to be some cheesy love story. I don't know why I thought that. I really don't know why I thought that, because I mean, I didn't even give the book a chance. I automatically just pushed it out of my head and just didn't want to read it. And then when I finally got around to reading it, it turns out to be a pretty legit book. The characters in this book were amazing. They were badass, they were interesting, they were funny, they were sarcastic, and especially our main character. Our main character was just badass. She didn't start off being that way. She started off being a normal, down-to-earth kid, and then they gradually moved her into this badass, heroic character that, you know, was shooting people and fighting and just doing all of these things that she normally wouldn't have done had she stayed in her previous faction. But because she is learning to be this new person, she evolved and she changed, and now she's a badass. And I thought that was really awesome, and I thought that was really good that they did that, because a lot of these YA books, they have these unrealistic main characters that just start off being these badass characters, but it's not realistic. It's not like, it doesn't show you, you know, how this person came to be this way. They just kind of throw it in your face, and they're just like, this is how they are, and that's it. But at least with this book, they kind of give us, you know, some background information as to, you know, what she was like before, and then why it is that she is this way now. And you'll see, you know, if you read the book, why she is this person that she is now, and what events happened in her life that made her become this person. And there are a lot of twists and turns throughout the story. There are a lot of sad parts within the story, a lot of parts where people that are really close to her die and get hurt and things like that. So it's a really good book. There's a lot of action. There's a lot of great things that go on in this book. Her love interest, 4, is also a very interesting character. He's very mysterious, to say the least, but it's a believable attraction between the two. It's a believable romance. I'm really excited to know what happens at the end of this book, or not what happens at the end of this book. I'm really excited to know what happens in the second book. I am actually currently reading Insurgent, and I'm halfway through the book, and it's a pretty good book. I'm definitely enjoying that book. There are some things that are being discussed in this second book that I was kind of wondering about in the first book. They're talking a little bit more in depth about some of the issues that were going on in the last book and what they're going to do. So I'm really excited to see how this second book ends. I think there's 3 books in this series. I'm not sure, but I think it is a trilogy. Correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not sure, but I think it is. And I'm really, really excited to see how this story turns out and what happens to some of these characters. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. But before I leave, I just want to let everyone know that every month, at the end of the month, the last week is going to be video week. I am officially deeming the last week of every month video week. So you can expect to see anywhere from 3 to 5 videos a week. It depends on how much time I have. If I don't have a lot of time, then it'll probably be 3 or so videos. And if I have more time, then it'll probably be 5 or so videos. And I'll try and upload the videos out throughout the week and disperse them evenly so that, you know, they're not just all on Monday or all on Friday or all on Wednesday. I'll try and even them out throughout the week. So just make sure that you're checking back on my channel to see what new videos I have up. And I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!